Yeah, I recorded this whole video while my child was napping. We'll get into it. But I didn't hit record. It's really my fault. I can't be mad at anybody but myself, but it's totally mom brain. Like, she had one of those nights where she wouldn't sleep, and I can't function today. I'm on my second cup of coffee, and I still don't know who I am. Anyway, we're gonna get through this video. Ah! Okay. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been about a million years since I've recorded a video, and yeah, I have, been lifing. Life has been lifing, really. Last year was a whirlwind of a year. I have a new sweet baby girl. Me and my husband welcomed our first child last year. She is amazing. Her name's Sophia. We're obsessed with her. She's so fun. She's so silly. She's so good. Oh, I love her. So that was an awesome, awesome blessing last year. But unfortunately, a couple of months after she was born, we lost my mother. And it was like both a surprise and not. She was sick. She was suffering with cancer, but she was also doing really well. So it's just one of those things that I just have to be grateful that she's no longer suffering. But I'm also super grateful that she got to meet my daughter. She was so excited to be a grandma. And yeah, anywho, if I can do this video without crying, it'll be a win. But needless to say, last year was rough. I mean, either one of those things by itself would have been a lot to contend with. But both, Lee, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, let me tell you. But the only thing I can say is the Lord gave me the strength to get through, because I don't know where I found it, but I found it, and I've been doing surprisingly well, all things considered. So yeah, it's been a crazy year. This year even still, it's crazy. It has continued. I mean, having a kid is a forever thing, and losing your mom is a forever thing, you know? Life just comes at you fast, and you just don't know what the new year is going to bring, good or bad. So it's been an adjustment, to say the least, and needless to say, YouTube has not been a priority for me. I don't think anyone would expect it to be, and I think that no one is surprised given what I have been dealing with. But all of that said, I was watching some of my old YouTube videos actually, and one of the ones I watched was my 2024 goals video. I was like, oh, let me do a goals video for this year. I didn't do one last year, but I did still do goals. So we're gonna review 24, 25, and then I'll talk through what I have, planned for 2026. But yeah, the name of the game is adapt, adjust. Expectations are not meeting reality, I thought I'd be a mom and have my mom. So that's an expectation, obviously, that my life is not living up to at the moment, but I'm adjusting. I have the most amazing village in the world. And I had a great, great mother. She prepared me for this. I have to rely on what she taught me and know that I'm ready and I got this. And if I don't got this, I have people I can call. Now that my kid is a little older, she's 7 months, so it's like I feel kind of human again, but still fitting in like my hobbies and activities that I like to do was difficult. So this year, that's something I want to be intentional about. I've been trying to figure out who I am when I'm not being a mom, and when I was grieving, still am grieving. I am not ashamed to say that I ran to my child and my mom, chores, all the things that I had to do to mom properly and used them to kind of not have to sit in those moments, right? So now that my kid's a little older and she's napping for longer, I find that I have these moments, and sometimes I kind of just have to feel my feelings, but other times I have to do what makes me happy and not just lament at the fact that I can't do it the way I want to do it, whether that means with my mom on the phone or, with uninterrupted time. Either way, expectations, they're not reality. And especially, a lot of expectations that I have are from prior to having a kid, so I kind of have to reshape those. So that's the overarching 2026 theme, I would say. It's tough out there, it's tough in here, the world's just hard right now. Yeah, I'm not shooting for perfection, just shooting for trying things. So if you're interested in that kind of a journey, if you're interested in the kind of content that I have created historically, and if you're interested in the new content I'm going to be making this year, because I do have a lot of plans, stay tuned. Long intro over now. My name is Kelly Rose. Welcome back to my channel. I make new videos every so often about things along the lines of fashion, lifestyle, and now I'm going to be talking more about slow fashion, a sustainable wardrobe, and making your own clothes / mending your own clothes / thrifting your own clothes, things of that nature. Just slow fashion in general. That's something actually that I want to do because of my mom. That was something we did together. All the time we would call each other and have little projects we were working on together. So that's something I feel that I can kind of reach out to my community, my virtual community, but also my friends. I have friends that knit and sew, and we're just gonna craft it up this year, So I am very excited to start making content around that. I have a lot of little projects that I'm like always doing regardless of whether I was filming them for content or not. And I'm not 100% sure I'm always gonna film them for content, but I will sometimes film them for content. And that's the goal now for this year. So speaking of goals, getting into the goals for the year. Let's start with 2024, because like I said, I skipped last year doing this video, but I was impressed with how many of them I didn't know I was gonna hit or have kind of come back around to, even without looking at this list yet. So starting with number 1, I had Get On Point. I don't think I knew at the time, but I got on point that next month. I think in that video I even said I was planning to apply to a program while I got into that program, so that's awesome. So yeah, I got on point, I did point work for a little bit, and then I got pregnant that end of that year, like September-ish or something, November-ish. And I still did point at the bar, but I wasn't really pushing for new skills on point at that time because I wasn't sure, how my body would feel every week. And as it turned out, I got a little loosey-goosey with the joints. I was a little nervous about doing anything with balance that could end up twerking, tweaking something, words. So not twerking something. Anywho, so yeah. Did point as long as I felt comfortable, but then I think by my 3rd trimester it was starting to become warm here. I was swelling, my feet and ankles were swelling. It was just hot. My shoes were uncomfortable, and I just said no. But I did it for a nice long time. So yeah, definitely have to give myself a check mark for that for 2024. And then for 2024 number 2, I had knit a cardigan and color work. Now it's funny because I have these pillows that I made that I don't know when I made, but I'm gonna give myself kind of a check mark-ish for that. I do check mark if I did it, line if I kind of did it but didn't accomplish it, but I'm still working towards it maybe, and X if I didn't even start. So this one gets a line because I did do color work. I did do those pillows, but I didn't do a cardigan. I did a sweater, but that doesn't count. And funny enough, knitting's one of the things I want to get back to now that my kid's a little older. It's kind of funny because when I'm knitting, she's always grabbing my knitting needles or grabbing the yarn I'm knitting with. I literally will just give her this skein of yarn and let her play with it like a cat. It's hilarious. But yeah, I've been knitting lately. Again, just working on this baby blanket that I might abandon, honestly. But I have pulled a knitted cardigan pattern. So, this is a goal that I might put on this year, but I want to knit a cardigan and I want to knit a sweater I can actually wear. I am allergic to wool, and this kind of factors into where I got to slow fashion. Between being a mom and being allergic to wool, I have to look up materials because I can't wear wool, so I need to know what's actually in the things I'm wearing. But then also as a mom, I prefer my things to be lightweight or breathable, natural fibers, and easy to wash and maintain. So both of those things have kind of led me to slow fashion because I'm looking for things that are made of sustainable materials and more importantly can go in the washer and dryer and hold up to spot treatment. So But as far as like sweaters, for example, I need cotton. I got rid of all my polyester sweaters and I want cotton. I don't even want acrylic. I want things that breathe. I'm hot. Like generally I run hot and I live in the South. We're having an unseasonably cold winter this year, but typically it's hot. So I like breathable knits, natural fibers, and yeah, things that can go in the washer and dryer. And since I'm allergic to wool, cotton is way better for me. It's easier to find. But when it comes to wool, I can wear pretty much anything that didn't come from a sheep. It was one of my goals, I think maybe for 2023. I knit a sweater. It was merino wool, which is sheep, but it's softer. So I thought maybe, this was before I figured out what I really can and cannot wear. It was too itchy, couldn't wear it, had to give it to my sister. So I have, as of yet, still not knit myself a sweater. But now that I know what I can wear, I do actually have some skeins of cotton white wool or yarn, in my closet, in my stash. I was kind of auditing what I had and what projects I was working on, and I think those would make a really nice sweater. So I pulled a sweater, I'll put up the pattern, but a sweater and a cardigan that I want to knit this year. So that didn't happen in 2024, but we might make it happen in 2026. Listen, the goals are not like to be a completionist. They're just like to give you a goal, something to aim at. Maybe we readjust, maybe we hit some, maybe we don't, maybe we come back to them. That's why I do this. It's not really to be like, yeah, let crush it. Like in 2024, I had 100% completion. No, if that's what you're here for, you're on the wrong channel. We're slow over here. We are vibing, okay? We're on the Lord's time. We are not killing ourselves. So yeah, I didn't get around to that in 2024, but hey, I'm glad I wrote it down because now I can circle back. Anyway, the next thing I had on here was reach front splits and pancake. Yeah, so obviously if you've been pregnant before, it's not a time to grind towards fitness goals. It's really a time to like maintain, maybe strength train, because ultimately I kind of consider labor to be like a thing you train for. And I kind of treated it that way. Not hardcore, but I did consistently train and try to keep my body well conditioned and strong. And I think that ultimately helped with me recovering well. But that said, you don't really want to be like pushing for like that next level of, especially with flexibility, skill wise, because your body's changing all the time. You can't really rely on it feeling the same or doing the same things week over week, and everything's softening and moving. And yeah, so needless to say, doing a split if you don't already have it is not something you want to do. And for me especially, I found stretching to be very painful while I was pregnant, so I pretty much cut that straight out. I did make progress like up until, but when I got pregnant, I stopped cold turkey pretty much. So nope, no splits or pancake, and I have regressed so depressingly much since I wasn't stretching. So I'm back to it, but I'm not. It's not impressive anymore. It's kind of sad, but it's okay. We'll get back. Like I said, we're circling back in 2026. So anyway, meal prepping was on here, and that was a funny one to read and see in my video because I didn't do a single thing for meal prepping back then, but I have since actually like planned some meals and been consistently prepping. I'm very boring about it. I actually just meal prep the same things pretty much, but I have a list of things that I just try to keep in the house, and I'm really more in a space where I meal prep like the bits and bobs to make a meal rather than like a full meal. Like I don't have little trays of, complete 3-course meals in my fridge, but I do have like sauces or filling for a sandwich. Like I kind of make all the things so then I can assemble a meal quickly. And it's become really nice because of my child, actually, because, having a kid, you don't have a lot of time to like put together a meal. Sometimes you're lucky if you can just grab a protein bar. So having stuff that's pre-made in the fridge makes it way easier and more likely for me to like eat lunch, basically. So that's something I've started doing end of last year, actually. So I put that on my 2026. I'm going to continue doing that. But that was funny because I didn't even remember that one being on here. And I just kind of did that without even seeing it on. See, that's why we keep track, because now I get to give myself a little check for that this year already. And then, yeah, I had some other stuff, build an app, YouTube, fitness, blah. Those didn't really make much progress. I would say with fitness, my thing was being consistent. So I did give myself a check for that. I didn't want to be distracted by, the fitfluencer culture is very like, do this exercise and in 30 days you'll have your whatever. I was trying not to be influenced. So I told myself, meet with a coach, get a program suited to you, or tailor a program for, yourself, whatever. But whatever it is, like, stay consistent with that and stop like ooh, squirrel with every other, video, fitness video you see. So I did that. I did give myself a check mark for that. And I had 3 coaches I wanted to work with, and I worked with all of them. I had Danny Winks, who I think I met with that March, so it was like 2 months after I wrote this. I met with her and got a little custom routine I did for a few months before tweaking it after doing an assessment through the Matthew Smith Flexibility Toolkit. I started that, but then I got pregnant, so now I've restarted that, and I like that a lot. I think they both really work with kind of the way that I build flexibility, which is kind of like a strength and stretch sort of situation. And then I had Broche Ballet, which is how I was doing my point cohort. So yeah, I gave myself little checks for all 3 of those because I was able to meet with every coach that I wanted to meet with. And I do think I have a really dialed in program now. It's just getting back on the proverbial horse here with being a mom, figuring out what my schedule looks like around my child's. So yeah, 2024 we did decent. Again, considering at that time that I wrote this, I had no clue that I was about to enter motherhood. I think I did pretty well. 2025 is where it gets a little funnier to me because literally my number 1 goal last year, I have more on here. Like you can see, I actually have like 1 through 7 written out, but the first one was the one. Be an amazing newborn mom. And I really remember in my brain saying like, deliver baby and survive. Like deliver my baby, recover, be a mom. Like that was my goal for 2025. I figured that would be enough. So I did that, check, obviously I have a kid, we're both here, yay. So I also had nursery on here, and that should be its own video because our now nursery was obviously our guest room before. And it was also the junk room where a lot of things went to die before they ideally left the house because I donated or sold them, but a lot of times they just went in there and kind of stayed in there. So I have some things to hang, curtains, pictures, and then I want to do a nursery tour. But yeah, I think I can give myself a giant check mark. I mean, the list I had for the nursery alone was long and every single thing on it is checked off. So pat on the back. Like I said, this number 1 thing, be an amazing mom, that took up 80% probably of my brain power and energy. So I was definitely not really thinking about anything else on this list. I'm amazed I even wrote half of this stuff down because I was pregnant when I wrote this. So number 2 is the one I laugh at now. Update my website, my resume, my portfolio. Obviously, that didn't really happen. I did get started. I would say I'm closer now. I have a better idea of how I want to handle my socials because of YouTube. I have a By Kelly Rose Instagram account, By Kelly Rose on TikTok, so you can go give those a follow. But I basically kind of have my content strategy a little bit more locked in. I've been parking accounts, but not really sure what to do with them. So now it's kind of some accounts are privated because I want to share more pictures there of my daughter for my family and friends to see. But then other accounts that are public, you'll maybe see her every now and again. I haven't. But I don't want her to be the focal point of my content, basically. And I want those to be just curated to a certain degree. So I have a nice line, I think, between the accounts that I kind of had that I was just using and wasn't really sure what to do with, and the accounts that I want to be my brand. And that took a lot of soul searching, weirdly, to figure out. But I think now that that's decided, it'll inform what I do with my website as well. So we're not there yet, but I've done some important pre-work that I say I would give myself a check for. So I again, my system, I gave myself a little line for that because I think I've gotten started, and no, I'm not done. I'm not where I want to be, but we're on the way. I'll put that on the list for this year too. And then, yeah, from here on out, I think it's X's across the board, except for one, which, so yeah, I have passive income revenue streams, didn't do anything with that. That'll be a future thing I still want to do, but yeah, obviously it's not an easy thing to do with a newborn. Then home improvement, reno, DIYs. I didn't put nursery under here, so I did not give myself a check for this. I was talking about refinishing the kitchen cabinets. I want to do a kitchen backsplash, and then we'd like to renovate our bathrooms, and then there's an unfinished room in our house we want to finish. So yeah, none of those happened. But now that we have a kiddo, I feel like we might switch order of priorities around. We were thinking bathroom first, but now I think maybe we'll do the basement room because the other room that my husband's office is in right now could become a playroom if we did that. So we have maybe more direction, but yeah, haven't started that. Then I have achieve active splits and pancake. That's pretty much on every single Like ever since I started ballet, I was like, I'm gonna get my splits, and I just keep putting it on. I keep making progress. We're just not there yet. Trust me. There will be billboards when I finally achieve this goal, so you won't miss it. But yeah, no, not there yet. And getting pregnant did not help. I've regressed significantly. It's quite depressing, but still believe in myself, and I will get back to it. I didn't lose as much flexibility as I thought I would, that's for sure, but I have lost quite a bit. It's yeah, like I said, depressing. I try not to think about it, but it's okay. It's okay. We're getting back there. We're adapting. It's fine. Recovering perfectionist, have to remind myself that it's all right. Sometimes progress is linear. Anywho, I have YouTube, knitting, baking, sewing, and I just kind of had as desired. I baked a lot last year. Just because around the holidays I was understandably upset. It was the first Christmas without my mom, and I didn't know what to do with myself. So I just baked all the things that she would usually bake to just feel the warm fuzzies of the holidays. Sent cookies to my dad and my sister. I was going a little nuts, I think, but it helped. I wanted to, she did all the holiday stuff. I didn't want her being gone to also mean that the holidays were bleak. So I really tried to take on the mantle and do as much as I could to make it still feel Christmassy. And I think I did a pretty good job. I was proud of myself because it was one of those things that I remember thinking there's no way I can do everything she did, especially with a kiddo. And I didn't do everything. We did a brunch instead of the big dinner, but it came together and it was really nice. And I was really proud of myself. It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. And the lesson there is that it's not always as hard as you think. Sometimes it is, but keep going and it'll get easier. Sometimes it isn't, but don't make mountains out of molehills. So I can give myself a check for baking, but I didn't do anything else. I didn't knit. Man, I thought having a kid, I'd just be knitting little baby onesies till the cows came home. I didn't knit a thing. Something about sitting and knitting while I was pregnant just was so unappealing. I feel like I didn't want to sit for very long. I didn't want to hunch over. And also now that I have her, it's her stuff really needs to be washed a lot, so knitted things are difficult. I don't know what I'm gonna knit. Maybe a hat? I have no idea. I haven't figured it out yet. If anyone has any knitting for babies ideas, I'm all ears. Because I'd love to knit her some stuff, but I just, like I said, I've been working on this baby blanket since well before she was born, and it's still only a quarter of the way done, so... Anywho, and then I had pirouette on point. That's hilarious because I was pregnant at this time. Can we just... But the people in the back, hey, I was pregnant and I thought I was about to get a pirouette on point, ha 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 ha. No, I barely continued with my point work. And when I say continued with my point work, I mean I put my point shoes on for bar. I was not doing anything in the center, even remotely resembling things that would lead me to being able to do a pirouette. So nope. It was a big old X I put. That's so funny. I don't know why I thought that was the thing I was gonna achieve on point while pregnant for the very first time. Yeah, no. Yeah, don't get me wrong. They tell you this a lot, when you get pregnant, things you're already doing, you can continue to do. So I continued to wear my point shoes because I had been doing that. I continued to do ballet. For a little while there, I was still going to the gym and doing weight training. But you don't want to start a new hobby, a new fitness activity when you're pregnant because your body feels different. You don't know what normal is supposed to feel like. And so you don't know if you're doing something right or wrong. And you can injure yourself pretty easily, obviously, as well being pregnant. You're just bigger and more I don't know, cumbersome to do more, whatever. It's harder to do things. That's what I should just simplify. And so, it's not a time to take up horseback riding. You know what I mean? Especially things like that, high impact. Even if I played basketball or something like that instead of ballet, I probably would have had to stop. You don't want anything that could involve you getting hit or falling, which point work qualifies as you see. But I modified. I did stuff at the bar so that I could grab the bar, but I wasn't about to do something in the center. I didn't fall often doing point, but you can. And just no. Anyway, long-winded way of saying I did not do that. So with all that said, hopefully I'll cut some of that out. Here we are now, finally in 2026. So looking at the goals that I have, what did I say about the home reno? There was one other one that I wanted to add here. I think I am going to give myself the achieve splits and pancake one because I believe in myself. Let's get that back on the list. because it's something I can do at home around my kids. So it's stuff like that is doable. Like for example, I canceled my gym membership because I need a gym that has childcare, and I'm not really at a point yet where even that makes sense. But ballet class, I bring her. I do class at home, and flexibility training I do at home. Weight training even I can do at home. So anything I can do with her around is great, because yeah, we're still breastfeeding. It's still very hard for me to be away from her. She doesn't like bottles. It's a whole thing. So yeah, with that said, number one is still be an amazing mom. Obviously, it's not newborn mom anymore. It's just we're constantly adapting as she grows. But I still would say that that's a big priority for me. I also, though, want to be a person. So number two is to revisit my hobbies. And like I said, keyword here is adapt. We're not looking to be the girl from 2 years ago who didn't have a kid, you know. I'm not going to hold myself to that standard. That's ridiculous. That way lies failure and, you know, disappointment. I am looking to be the girl that has a kid but still has hobbies, which, like I said, right now that means I'm going to ballet class and I'm wearing my kid, because it's easier to do that than it is to go without her. Like, I don't know if I saw that for myself, but it works. My class is really, like, all my classmates love seeing her. My teacher's super chill about it. Like, I've been going to that class for a while, so everybody's fine, and it's great. And so that's what ballet looks like right now, and that's not what I envisioned. But again, we're not expectations. I expected to have, you know, my mom here through all of this. So the expectations are not lining up with the reality, but that doesn't mean this stuff isn't worth doing. So I'm just trying to adapt, figure out what it looks like now that my expectations have been blown up and set on fire. So yeah, that is my second goal. And I put ballet, knitting, and YouTube. And like I said, under knitting, I added a sweater and a cardigan. I already have 2 patterns pulled for that. And then for YouTube, I am kind of changing the kind of content I'm making, doing more big project videos on YouTube, and then doing more shorts, which is why I did the TikTok and Instagram kind of restructure, so that I'll have places to post shorter bits from the larger videos that I post on YouTube. But yeah, I think I'm making good headway. I mean, I've already started knitting, I've already started going back to ballet, and here I am filming a YouTube video, so go me. And I'm already an amazing mom. Would you look at that? I've already achieved everything I ever wanted. So anyway, we're doing well, and that leads well into the next one, which is meal prep, which I've also already started doing. So yeah, I've been meal prepping a chicken salad. I meal prep like chia seed pudding, easy stuff. I make a mayonnaise. I chop up fruit. So it's not like an amazingly, like, you know, I don't know, filmable, Instagrammable process. Like it's really simple stuff. It's just stuff that I can reach into the fridge and grab very easily. So already been doing that. I should have put it under continue, but it's under start. But yeah, meal prep, yay. So we're 3 for 3 so far. Number 4 is get back in shape. And when I say get back in shape, I'm not really talking about like have abs. Like have abs as in my abs can do things, sure, but have like visible chiseled abs? No, I didn't even have that before. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like giving myself this crazy in shape goal, right? No weight is involved or anything like that. I just want to get like comfortable with the kind of training I was doing, which means like going to ballet class, maybe getting back to a place where I can do point at the bar, and doing my splits training on a consistent basis. But I don't think I would necessarily say I'm like aiming to be 6-day a week training again just yet. I'm prioritizing being a mom right now. You know, there's going to be a day where she's in school and she doesn't need me as much, and then I'll be sad and I can go to ballet class as much as I want to make myself feel better. But right now we're home with her and it's the best, but I'm not letting goals I had from the past or ways, you know, I used to spend my time before her compromise how I spend my time now. So yes, I want to get back into those things, but I'm perfectly fine with doing them with her at home, having them be shorter, you know. Perfect example is yesterday I did a bar, and usually I would like put on ballet clothes and get all dressed up and pull out the bar and roll out the carpet, and you know, it'd be a whole production that would take like 2 hours. I don't have that kind of time these days, so I literally just put like a t-shirt and some leggings on, grabbed a kitchen table chair, and made up a quick bar to do to an album, like a Nate Fifield album. And that was it. It was like probably 20 minutes all told. My husband held her, I held her, and then, you know, I showered and I was done. But it felt really great. I feel really good in my body today. That kind of thing. I just want to feel good and be strong so I can pick up my 20-pound kid without breaking my back. So that's where I would say get back in shape. That's what I mean. And I think I'm kind of already doing a good job. I've started my splits training again. I just want to kind of get back into the swing of the kinds of things I was doing and mostly be adaptable to the new schedule that I have, but don't let that be an excuse to not do anything. And then in the continue section, I have portfolio update. I did add that back here. Like I said, I think I'm in a place where I have sort of done a little bit of the pre-work to understand what I want that to look like when I finish that update. So we're working on that. Home reno. These really should be the start section. This is funny. But the home reno stuff, I have the nursery because I still have some projects in there, but then I have the office bathroom. Those would really be the overhauls. We'll see. I mean, budget is really the big thing that's going to determine if we do those things this year, but I'm just going to keep putting them down until they get done, like my splits, which are the next thing on here. They're getting put down until I get them. Like I said, there'll be a giant plane with a banner in the sky when I finally achieve that. I've been working on them for so long. But yeah, I'm going to continue working on that. I've already started to get back to that. And yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have that. It's like, even if it's just at the end of a long day, like when she's gone down for bed, rolling out my mat and doing some feel-good stretching, I've started to do that kind of thing more regularly, and it just makes me feel great. You just don't know how much, like, you don't anticipate how much hunching over and nursing and carrying a baby around all day is like gonna just make you feel horrible, like physically horrible. And then add on top of that the broken sleep and all the rest. So finding space, even if it's with her, to do things that just make my body feel good, I think are generally things that are great and that I should prioritize. Again, not going for, you know, best shape of my life, but I do want to like feel good in my body and like not have my back feel like it's gonna give out on me. So long-winded video, but here we are at the end. If you made it to the end, thank you for sticking around. I know this is a longer one because I haven't been here and there's been a lot to update, but I think we have covered it all. So thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go relieve my amazing husband of baby watch duty because he has been so great watching her while I film this video, because I filmed the whole thing and didn't hit record, and she was napping, and it was about to be the best, most accomplished mom day I'd ever had. I like cleaned up the kitchen and I was filming a video. And then she woke up and I realized I hadn't hit record. So bless. My husband was just, because he was also napping because it was a night. We had one of the, she didn't want to sleep nights. But yeah, he got her and was like, don't even sweat it, film your video. So we got it done. But yeah, see, that's exactly the thing. Like, you can't just be like, ugh, I guess I'll never YouTube again. I wanted to be, but yeah, I filmed it anyway. And you know, this is the kind of format we're getting. Just like, it's gonna be a little raw, a little crazy, a little less polished, but we're adapting. I can't expect that from myself, and we're not going to make perfect the enemy of good here. So that is that. Again, if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching. Check my new TikTok and Instagram accounts if you'd like to see little short form bits from videos. And yeah, give me a follow. Check out some of my old stuff. I think it's still pretty good. And keep your eyes peeled for new. And with that all said, bye. See you in the next one.